What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Tesla Talk Tuesday. Today is a very special, okay, it's actually not a very special day. It's just another day. Yeah, I guess it's just another Tesla Talk Tuesday, but we do have some interesting stuff going on. That being navigate on pilot. Yeah, not navigate on autopilot, navigate on pilot. Wait for it. Yep, whoa, guys, up here. There we go, much better, much better. So, like I was saying, navigate on pilot, yes. So, Beijing Auto Show. NIO, I guess, recently came out with some new technology, and this is effectively their autopilot technology or autonomous driving stuff, and it's called Navigate on Pilot. Very similar to Navigate on Autopilot, but point being, they came out with that. They came out with some new fast charging stuff. I think it's like 20 kilowatts, which is like fairly fast, but if you think about it, the slow Tesla destination urban superchargers are 72 kilowatts. So 20 kilowatts, not bad, but you know, could be faster. But point is, they also have their battery swap technology. All this was at the Beijing Auto Show. And then some Deutsche Bank analysts came out and said that they're gonna become an iconic brand, blah, 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 blah. Point being, they're up about 10% today. So that's good stuff, back over $20 a share. If you think, I think like less than a year ago, their stock was trading at like below $2 a share. So they've had quite the run up along with Tesla and a couple other EV companies. On the other hand, Nikola, not doing so hot. I guess there's also some like sexual misconduct allegations against Trevor Milton, the guy who stepped down, the whole CEO who's misled investors and whatnot. So again, I would not touch that stock with a 10-foot pole, yeah. NIO, on the other hand, NIO is doing quite well along with Tesla. Tesla, I think they're down a little bit today, but back above $400 a share, so not too shabby. They should have delivery numbers maybe by the end of the week, if not next week, and then earnings at the end of October. So keep a lookout for those, but it's lots of interesting stuff going on in the EV space. Mostly good, but Nikola, I guess, is kind of the bad. Now, the reason why you guys are all here, Tesla Talk Tuesday, some Tesla news. I guess Walmart Canada, so you know the Canada branch of Walmart, they have placed an order of 130 Tesla semis. I guess the original order I think was for 20. And they've bumped that to 130. I guess they have like a net zero or, you know, decrease their carbon footprint by 2022 kind of thing. So they're hoping to, I guess, take deliveries of these semis within the next year or two. It will be interesting to see how quickly Tesla sort of starts producing semis, because I think they're supposed to do that out of the Austin plant. So you could see a big ramp up by the middle or end of next year. But it is pretty neat. Now, these orders, I think, equate to like, I don't know, 120 million or 200 million, which if you look at their market cap, so the stock's market cap is like 380 billion. So it's not going to do too much on the stock itself, but nonetheless, still great news. Very cool stuff. I think the trucks are supposed to be like, I don't know, $120,000, $150,000, something like that. So that is pretty cheap, I guess, relatively speaking. I don't really know what new diesel trucks go for, because I think it's a $20,000 deposit for the semis, unless you get like the signature semis or something, which is a full $200,000 deposit, which I think is the full price of the truck. Now, the range on these trucks is only 500 miles, and a lot of people are saying, well, for you know, big trucking, that's not a lot. However, Walmart is basically saying that they're going to use these trucks for their like round trip day kind of trucking needs, which is mostly in that 500-mile range. These trucks that basically take a delivery from like, you know, a shipping center to the warehouse centers nearby, or the Walmart stores nearby, and then would go back to the distribution centers that night. Not like long haul things like when you're taking you know, delivering goods all the way across the country. Nonetheless, it is pretty interesting and pretty cool to see that Walmart upped their order by quite a lot. They pretty much upped their order by like a factor of 5, maybe 6. Look who it is, Mr. Aston himself. What's up, bud? Come here. Ooh, it's getting so big now. Say hi. Say hi, Aston. Hey, guys. Good boy. He's my big lap dog. So, the other week was battery day. And, well, if you're a big, you know, Tesla person or EV nerd or whatever you want to call it, it was fascinating and you watched it. Now, I guess Elon has come out recently in an interview with Kara Swisher, basically saying that he was disappointed in the media coverage or sad at it. And he thinks it's because a lot of people didn't really understand what was going on or the importance of what they were talking about. So to go to that point, Elon touched on how they were sort of like, I think it was 5 different things that were going to bring down the cost per kilowatt by like over 50%, which is very interesting. But it's probably only interesting to, people that are Tesla nerds or EV nerds, right? Anybody else doesn't really care that much. They just think, well, what's the product? Like, what can I buy? What do I see? But the problem is that the way it's going to affect things going forward, you're not really going to see a reflection of that for about a year, if not more than that, to really ramp up and get into full production. Point being is that the new battery technology, the tabless batteries that they're going to come out with, he did say before the event, which is why the stock fell the day before, that you wouldn't see full-scale production until 2022. Now, obviously, they did say that they're going to come out with a $25,000 car, which, in other news, is actually a new product. They're not bringing down the price of the Model 3 to $25,000. It will be a new vehicle, and actually 2 new vehicles, one in Berlin and one in Shanghai as well. They will be separate vehicles for the respective markets. That's my understanding based on a recent tweet of his. Now, they will also have the Model S Plaid mode. Not technically a new vehicle, but it will be tri-motor, which is new. And then theoretically, I guess people are saying there should be some sort of body kit, or might be wider, have more of a tail to the back, because obviously they're doing testing around like tracks like Laguna Seca, as well as quarter-mile drag with it. So that stuff. But back to the other point. He also talked about this single cast like molding. So they're basically doing these like all aluminum single cast body pieces, which is extremely impressive. And I'm only saying that because I've heard that. I don't really quite understand all the, bits and bobs of manufacturing, but it's apparently extremely impressive, and it simplifies the manufacturing process, but creating that like cast is extremely complex, is my understanding. So getting this done will bring down costs significantly, but it's a complex process that takes time. Now, also, all of these battery technologies, they still have to come up with the optimal solution, and that's also why they need to figure out how to manufacture these at a significant rate, and also have all the materials set in place. So recently they I guess have signed a contract with like a miner in order to make sure they have some materials necessary to make these new batteries. So should be interesting going forward, but Elon Musk, I guess, was disappointed. But if you look at it from the media's perspective, there was nothing interesting for them to cover. There is no new product right here that they can see that's going to be for sale right now. So because of that, the media doesn't cover it. And that's how the media works. They're going to pick up on something that's interesting that they can show a picture of, and showing the components of a battery and coming out with a new battery, well, it isn't that exciting to them, or to most people. But I will say that if you looked at YouTube, I think there were over like 3 million people that streamed it, and it was #1 on trending. So clearly people were watching it and people were interested, and that was the day after the event, I think, that it was #1 on trending. The day after, maybe 2 days after, it was within the top 10 for a while, but clearly people watched it. It just wasn't picked up as much by the media. Now, when these Model S Plaid versions start coming out, and when the Cybertruck starts coming out, that will definitely get some coverage, for the better or for worse, depending on, how people drive those, because, well, Cybertruck, giant truck, super fast acceleration, people could get into trouble. Same thing with the Tesla Model S Plaid version. 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds. If people aren't experienced drivers, they're not going to be able to react fast enough if there's not wide open space in front of them. So could be interesting. Either way, I'm very excited for both, but they're about a year away. And, well, hopefully the media will do a lot more coverage then. Either way, Tesla doesn't pay for advertising or anything like that. So still very impressive with what they've done. It's just all word of mouth. People get excited about it. It's very cool stuff. So having a 500+ mile EV is ideal for day-to-day driving. I mean, I don't think there's any situation, unless you're going on a long road trip, where you're driving more than 500 miles in a day. Now, obviously, if you floor the car a lot, you're going to use a lot more than the 500-mile range, because it'll, be less efficient, but that's besides the point. Either way, very excited for the technology. I thought it was awesome. If you haven't seen it, go check out their battery day, but I can understand why the media didn't cover it. There was no ball being thrown at indestructible glass and seeing it shatter, so nothing too interesting for them. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is that Ford has slashed the price of their Mach-E just before the start of deliveries by up to $3,000. Now, it's either $1,000, $2,000, or $3,000 depending on the trim, but it is interesting because why would you cut prices right before you start delivering them? I'm gonna guess demand could be dropping. Maybe people are canceling reservations, or they just haven't gotten the demand that they thought they would. Either way, it is quite peculiar. At the same time, we have seen Tesla do things to sort of push vehicles at the end of quarters. However, they've been around, they only sell electric cars, so they're doing that in order to push the sale of those cars in order to, well, not only drive revenue, but also to drive delivery numbers for the stock for investors. So looking at all these things, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm expecting the Mach-E to kind of fall on its head. They kept saying, you know, it's inspired by the Mustang, but it's nothing like the Mustang. It's not an electric Mustang by any means in my eyes. So it should be interesting to see what happens. Now, there are also other car companies, the Audi with the Audi e-tron, Jaguar with the I-Pace, and I think Chevy with the Bolt. They're all doing quarter-end incentives. Some of them are lease deals and things like that, but clearly, you know, these cars, I don't think they're selling as well. Granted, I don't know if Tesla really does price drops all the time. I guess sometimes they have, but they've also done incentives like 1,000 extra free supercharging miles, or sometimes if they have cars readily available in an area, they'll have somebody take deliveries, you know, 3 or 4 days earlier to get it in at the end of a quarter rather than the beginning of the next quarter, if they want to change a spec or two. Either way, it is interesting to see that Ford is dropping prices by up to $3,000 on a brand new car right before they start deliveries. So I'm just thinking probably not a ton of demand. Anyways, if you guys are enjoying these videos, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It would really help me out and would really appreciate it. But until next time, thanks for watching.